What you're going to need is a Phillips head screwdriver, number 2, a pair of needle nose pliers, and a small flathead screwdriver. There are 5 bolts that hold the housing where the control buttons are, and so first we're going to remove those. Now that we've taken out the 5 retaining screws, you want to carefully lift away the side panel of the machine. Now we've already taken out the ink cartridges for a bulk system, and you need to take the hood off here, and that's done by pushing in on these tabs here. You can use a small flat-headed screwdriver to do that. You carefully pull this away. Now you want to kind of center your head carriage into the middle here. And there are 3 locking tabs that hold this cable protector here in place. The first one is right here. The other 2 tabs you have to get from behind the panel here. You want to take your screwdriver and very carefully reach in here. Push one and push the other one, and that should release the cable protector that you very carefully want to lift up and bring away. You want to be very careful not to pinch this ribbon cable right here in any way, because that will damage the printer. Now that we've got the ribbon cable protector out of the way, before you remove the bolts that secure the head, you want to take the 2 spring clips out, and you're going to use your needle nose pliers, and you're going to reach in and pull those straight up and away. We've removed the spring clips and set those aside. Now before we can take the screw off that will free the head, there's a spring right here. And what you want to do is pull that towards the front of the unit and hook it on right there. And that's a temporary place to hold the spring so that it won't spring off when we undo these screws here. Now there's a screw on this side of the head, and there's a screw on this side of the head. Now that should free up the head bar. Now first you pull it this direction. You pull it out like this through the slot, but not all the way. And you stop about halfway through, and as you bring it to you pull it to the front and to the left, and this bar comes out that way. It can be a little tricky. You might need to manipulate it a little because this finger right here catches on things, or this part here will as well. So you push it in and then bring it up at an angle and pull it out like that. And that frees the head up. And that allows you access to remove the head, being very careful not to damage. You don't want anything to come in contact with the surface of the head here. You don't want to touch it. You don't want to set this part on a counter or a table. And then you're carefully going to pull your ribbon cables out. You don't really want to go at an angle because you can kink the cable. So you pull both of those out. Take your new head out at this point and put the old head back in the box. Try to use all the same shipping packages so that we can try and refurbish the head. So our new shiny clean head. First you want to reattach the ribbon cables. Do the large one first. Push in even straight across. You'll feel it kind of engage and lock in place. Now the smaller one. Now take the head, carefully put it back in place. This area right here you want to be careful of. because there are these little fingers that contact the cartridges and tell the printer how much ink is left in a cartridge. Now that the head is seated back in, it just sits loosely in there. Now we're going to take the bar and start at this angle. Bring it through this slot here. Slide it down in. And it should set in place. Now at this point, you want to just loosely put these screws back in place. You don't want to tighten them down just yet. Before you tighten them down, release this spring. There's a little notch on this piece of metal right here. You want to release the spring and get it back in there. That springs and loads the head and keeps it securely in the right location. Then go ahead and tighten your locking screws down. Now we're going to put the spring clips back in, and if you remember, there's two. There's the solid one and the one that's more open. We're going to put the solid one in first. And I like to just take the needle nose pliers and you just slide it right down into the little gap here. It seats right in place when it's at the bottom. And then you're going to take the second one here, and again, being very careful not to crush or bend anything. Take the needle nose pliers and it should just slide in place. Now it's time to put the wire protector back in place. And this can get a little tricky because these fingers right here, they tend to catch the ribbon. So to put the wire protector in, you want to slide the head a little bit out of the way and bring it down somewhat in place. And then as you slide the head back in place, you want the ribbon cable to be up in the guides in here. And one of the ways you get them back in is you kind of fold the ribbon cable like this, and then it will slide up into the tabs, which are sticking this way. You'll feel it lock in place. Remember, there's the 3 locking points, 1, 2, and 3. And now we can put the lid back on. And that just snaps right back in place. Carefully put the cover back on. Watch these ribbons down here. You don't want to get them pinched. Now you'll have to go ahead and perform head alignment, the full alignment print and head adjustment print, and if you've done everything right, it should come out great. And we're done.